Welcome to Founder Stories with Mona Juneja. This is the podcast you'll wish you found sooner. In each episode, I talk to founders who left their 9 to 5 to build their own business. They share mistakes, late nights, and the moments they almost gave up. If you've been thinking of starting something, these stories will give you the push you need. So let's get started. Hi, Mackenzie. Welcome to the Founder Stories podcast. It's great to have you here.
Pleasure to be here, Mona. Thank you very much for having me.
Great. So it'll be great to get started with your introduction, who you are, where you're from, and what do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work with sophisticated wealth professionals to move them away from referral reliance so that they can actually implement infrastructure so that they have a more predictable pipeline. So as I'm sure you're aware, with many service providers, they get really good at what they do. They get recommended by everyone that they know, but they might get 3 referrals this month and then they wait 3 months and they haven't got any referrals. So I make sure that they have a consistent flow of business coming through the door, especially within the finance world. People like to forecast things. So it's very important that they can know our growth is going to go like this or like this rather than accepting the volatility.
Okay. So you help businesses in the financial sector generate pipeline, a predictable pipeline, right? That's what
That's correct, as well as doing marketing consulting for them, yes.
okay. And when did you start that?
A little over a year and a half ago.
Okay. And what were you doing before? Did you have a 9 to 5?
I did. I with the only 9 to 5 I've ever had in my entire life. Yes, I had a 9 to 5 job. So I moved from being commission only my whole career, having a 9 to 5, which was quite a flexible 9 to 5, but a 9 to 5 nonetheless, and then made the jump into full-time entrepreneurship. I'd had a few businesses when I was younger. Naturally, they were more side hustles, I would say, than businesses. They weren't things that I was always working on all day, every day.
Okay. And where you based and where you from?
So I'm currently based in Thailand. I'll be in Vietnam in a couple of days on Wednesday. But I'm usually based out of Mexico, and I'm from the United Kingdom, from England.
Oh,
So
great. So I'm right now in Vietnam, in a city called Da Nang. So if you're coming this Wednesday, did you say?
this Wednesday, yeah, I'll be going to Ho Chi Minh.
Okay. And are you planning to come to Da Nang? Then we can meet up for coffee as well.
I am planning on doing that. Planning on doing that, going down to the southeastern coast, as one of my friends has recommended a little spot there. He said that's wonderful. And then I plan on doing a bit of the loop, and I've got some friends up north in Hanoi.
That's amazing. So you are from the UK, but you live in Mexico, and right now you're just traveling in Thailand, right?
I do, yeah. So I came across here to see a friend from university and to see some clients that I'm currently working with as well. So it's always nice to meet up with clients and people that normally you see through a screen and you get to actually meet them physically in person. I think that just deepens the relationship and it just adds that little cherry on top of the cake.
Absolutely. So you are a perfect guest because you had a 9 to 5 job just a year ago or 1.5 years ago, and you made the switch. What were the initial challenges, or let's say, what made you uh, leave your 9 to 5 to starting your own business? What motivated you?
I knew I always wanted to go into entrepreneurship. I think everyone within my family always knew that I was the kid at school who sold sweets. So I always knew that was the path that I was leading down. I wanted to get some sales experience because that's fundamental. If you want to be able to run your own business, you need to be able to sell yourself, the product, the service, whatever it might be. I then was aware I wanted some marketing experience. So once I had got to the point where I felt that I had sufficient experience and then above and beyond that, I thought, right, I'm now prepared. I'd prepared financially for it to give myself that buffer. And I thought, you know, there's no better time than the present. I don't have any children. I don't have a mortgage. As soon as those things on, my dad told me, as soon as you get those things, it's not going to be so easy to start a business when you've got those fixed monthly costs. So progress over perfection, and I thought I'd just take the jump and see where it led me, and here I am.
So how did you get into this business, the agency? What do I call your company? Is it an agency? How do you describe yourself?
It's a client acquisition firm.
Okay. How did you get into client acquisition firm?
So I'd always worked within sales and within marketing, so I knew how to acquire the clients in terms of the sales portion, and then I'd learned how to acquire them higher up the funnel in the marketing element of things. And so I'd got those two, but my original dream had actually been to go and be a financial advisor. So want, I decided I wasn't going to do that for other reasons. I'll keep the story short, but on the advice of the executive director of a firm, he told me, you don't do this yet. You're too young. You're 22. Trust me, wait at least 10 years and then do it. And so once I'd acquired the sales and marketing skills, it seemed like the natural sector to go into because my family's been in financial services for 6 generations. So
Oh,
it was just a perfect dovetail intersect of who can I provide this to? Oh, people who I'm already in their world. I am a finance guy who happens to know sales and marketing and can help them fill a gap in that market.
that's wonderful. Okay. So that makes a lot of sense. So first, you graduated, you acquired skills in sales and marketing, and then because of your family's background, you picked out the niche, which was financial industry. That's amazing.
Correct, but I never actually graduated. I
Oh, you
decided to drop out of university because I didn't see the value as being translated there. So I chose to actually drop out of university.
okay? All right, interesting. So, Mackenzie, what made you choose Mexico? Why Mexico?
Originally, my love for pyramids was the key foundational core, and that's where most people who want to travel Latin America start off. And I arrived 2 weeks before COVID, and I was meant to meet my brother in Costa Rica 2 months later because he was doing a talk there. And as you can imagine, his talk was cancelled. I like to joke I was stuck in Mexico, and then met the love of my life, and it was a pretty easy decision between the pair of us. We both agreed we might want to live in Mexico over England. So that's how I ended up in Mexico.
2 months before COVID hit, we were also in Mexico, my husband and I, and
Okay.
somebody stole our passports and credit cards. Our vacation, that time we lived in the US, and it was a 10-day vacation, and
Hmm.
that lasted for about 1.5 months.
Hmm.
And I also like to jokingly say that we were stuck in Mexico. It turned out to be great. We had like a paid vacation for like 1.5 months, even though it was very stressful because our passports came from India. We had to
Oh,
apply for passports, and then we had to apply for the US work visa, which we already had. And it was a
uh-huh.
nightmare, but then it turned out to be a great decision because I got into arts, I got into several other things because I was not working. We were just stuck in Mexico. So you and I were, I guess, stuck at the same time in Mexico.
Whereabouts were you based in Mexico at the time?
So for 10 days, we did Cancun.
Hmm.
I can't remember the name now. Isle of Mujeres? It's called Island of
Mujeres, Isla
Mujeres.
Mujeres, the island of wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful, lovely place.
Then
Yeah,
we also came down where the pyramids are. I can't remember, but it's the
yeah,
UNESCO
Chichen
World.
Itza.
What is
Yeah, yeah,
what is the
Chichen
place?
Itza, the pyramids. Yeah, so
Yes.
yeah, it's
We
over
did
that
that,
way.
and our passports were stolen while we were in the bus moving from Cancun to South. Yeah, so that's what happened. And then, yeah, we were there for 1.5 months. It was great. I mean, I haven't been to Mexico again after that, but we had given up on Central America after that passport incident. But 2 years ago, we went to Guatemala, which was great, lovely, and Costa Rica as well. Yeah,
I love.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm planning on doing some traveling around those parts, and again going to other financial areas such as in Chile they have Santiago. It's a huge, enormous financial district. In Mexico, they did more mergers and acquisitions last year than they did in London and the UK. So the finance sector is growing enormously there. Most people don't realize it's actually the same size as all of Europe put together. So
Yeah, it's
lots of places.
yeah. So you were sure that you had to get into sales and marketing, and because of your family background, you had also niched out on an industry. Many people struggle with all of these things. Some people think they have the skill sets, but they don't have the confidence. Some people are not clear in what they want to do. So what would be your advice to those people?
To a lot of people, it would be stay in your job, firstly. Don't just go into entrepreneurship out of nowhere, because you can do your 9 to 5 and then you can do a 5 to 9. You can still work. You still need a proof of concept that your business is going to work. So don't just leap immediately into it. I mean, firstly, you want to be able to fund it. You either need to fund it with time or money. Ideally, you can fund it with both. So actually, I would stay in your job for most people. I would try and figure out what is something that I'm passionate about, that I have knowledge about. That's going to be really important. Go away and learn the skills, but also probably more crucially than any of that is your mindset. If you do not have the confidence and the ability, fix your mindset first, because it's a bit of a chicken and the egg scenario, but there will be some seriously rough times. I know a lot of entrepreneurship is shown as all glitz and glamour and oh, everything's all wonderful. And I think anyone who's an entrepreneur knows that that most certainly is not the case. It's a bit of the iceberg effect. 10% of it might be that, 90% of it for most individuals is you have a deadline to meet for XYZ client. You need to make sure that you're providing the highest quality work that you can possibly do. Oh, look, there's a fire that you need to put out. Oh, and at the same time, there's another fire over there that you might need to put out. So I think really fixing your mindset, knowing that you just need to try the best that you can do every single day. Obviously, build yourself a sort of nest of what you're willing to invest in your business and in yourself. And once you get your business up to a point where you're earning either the same amount of money, or you're on a trajectory where you can see that you'll be quickly earning the same amount of money, that's when I would probably suggest that you move. I actually consulted for 600 startup marketing agencies. So I've seen this pattern literally hundreds of times. And I would recommend for most people, they just stay in their job, learn in the background within the extra hours. Everyone has the same hours in the day. And I love the Alex Hormozy quote: if you want to be exceptional, you have to be the exception. Most people are not working from 5 till 9. When they get home, they want to doom scroll, watch some TV, and I understand they have obligations. This is my personal experience. I can't speak to someone who has a child, who has a wife. That's a completely different ballpark that I have no experience with. But if you're young enough, take the risk. I mean, you're in the best position. You have literally nothing to lose. What happens if you lose your job? Well, within the job market, I think you're well aware of this, Mona. No one really expects much of you before the age of 30, because when would you have had the time to have gained the experience to be good at anything? So going out there and doing the thing, the actual practical element, is so much more important than the theory, because theory works until you have to put it into place, and then you very quickly find out theory is theory, practical is practical.
Yeah, I love that advice, Mackenzie. So you mentioned you consulted for 600 startups, is it?
Yes, just under. I think it was about 597. I was a
Okay.
little disappointed to get to 600.
You'll get there. So when you say you consulted, what exactly were you doing with them? Like, what was your role?
Yeah, so it was coaching and consulting. So it was literally starting from end to end. From the people, we had people who were 14 years old, a lot of college students, a lot of people who were sort of mid-career, and then even people who are later on in their career. And they were looking to either transition or completely start a business. So if they were in college, they realized they had a lot of free time available to them. So they wanted to start something on the side to be able to make more money in that sense. And so we would come in and we would help them with offering, positioning, branding, messaging, In my experience, I knew sales, so I could help them a lot with the sales element of those things. A lot of it, though, again, leading back to what we just spoke about, was mindset. A lot of people would say, well, I can't do X, Y, and Z. And it's you haven't figured out a way to do X, Y, and Z yet. That might be the thing. Or, well, how do I find the time to message 100 people a day? Well, because there's going to be sacrifices that you need to make. So it's really a question of how much do you really want it? Because other people, if I'm doing it for nearly 600 people, I can see that there are people who do more work hours than you, and they still manage to do this stuff on the side. You're a college student in your first year where you have to do very little, and really you just don't have the work ethic. And I think I don't want to generalize my generation. I'm 28, but the work ethic it doesn't appear to be the same as that of other generations.
It was a pleasure having you, Mackenzie, with us on this podcast. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening. This episode was sponsored by Bear Connect, an AI-powered LinkedIn automation tool that helps you save hours every week. If you enjoyed this conversation, make sure you follow or subscribe and share it with at least one person who needs a reminder to follow their dream. See you next time.